Hey everybody, we're gonna just jump in here a little bit early to have a little chit chat, say hello before we start the actual show. How's everybody doing today? So you got people calling in from all over the place. Already seeing the comments coming in from where Vancouver, BC, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Greg says the dupes are keeping you from using Lightroom Mobile. Well, where's that coming from? I hear sound. It's not the computer. I'll be right back. This is why we start things early. This is why we start. You shush. Forgot I had the window open where I created the event on another machine, and of course that just decided to start auto playing. So yeah, Greg, I think you're going to like. I hope you like this. It's a little bit sneaky, like slightly dishonest level sneaky. But I do this all the time, and it works. So there you go. Let's see here. So yeah, we've got. Oh, it looks like we have people chatting from a couple of places here. We've got. Facebook is on the line. We had some people in Periscope, but they have disappeared. And of course, the people here on YouTube, which is where the most of the audience is, as usual. All right, I'm gonna hide this, make sure this is all set up for that part. And otherwise, I think I'm just about ready to go. Got like 30-something seconds left, and we're gonna get this show on the road, or the road on the show, or some show on some sort of a road. I will be doing a live Q&A afterwards, as always. I will kind of tear through the main demo and then do a Q&A at the end. So if you got your questions, go ahead and drop them into the live chat at any time you like, and I will do my darndest to answer them correctly. It's always the hard part. Answering questions is easy. It's getting them right that's the hard part. Yeah. Hey, I do want to tell you this before we ignore the clock. I think I still have this slide set up. Is this it? Yes. So if you are in the New York area or can travel to the New York area next week, June 18th to 20th in New York City, there is this event called Adorama Inspire, put on by the Adorama store. I'm sure you're all very familiar with that. Adorama.com/inspire is a whole series of photo walks and I don't know, lectures and shoots and all kinds of good stuff going on over the course of 3 days. I will be there for 2 events. I'm going to be on a panel on Tuesday evening and doing a photo walk on Thursday morning. So full info at adorama.com/inspire. I know there's a cost to my photo walk. It's like $25. It's not. This isn't for me. It just goes to Adorama, probably to the BMX bicyclists that we're hiring, because we have a rider who's a cyclist who's coming with us. He's going to do trick shots, and we're going to shoot. We're going to be using the S series cameras, which is really cool. I mean, you can bring your own. You can shoot with your own, but it'll have a couple of S's to play with. I don't know if there's another fee on top of that for the whole event. I'd just go to adorama.com/inspire and figure that out. Yeah, that'll be cool. Okay, I think it's enough. Should we start the actual show? Let's start the actual show. Make sure everything's set up here. We are set and ready to go. Let me get this out of here, and let's do this, shall we? Oh, I should probably hit record on the main event over here. That'd be good to actually have that recorded. Oi. On today's show, we're going to look at how to do the impossible in Lightroom Mobile. That is copy/duplicate photos, and how to batch apply a copy and paste to copy and paste your image adjustments. For any of you out there who've been using Lightroom Mobile along with the Lightroom Desktop, and now this is the Lightroom CC, which used to just be called Lightroom. There was Lightroom Classic and then CC, and they keep changing the names. It's actually, the CC is now gone. It is now Lightroom. Full stop. You have Lightroom Desktop and you have Lightroom Mobile, but it's just Lightroom. So this is the one we're talking about, the cloud-based version of Lightroom, the subscription service of Lightroom. And for the most part, you have feature parity across the desktop and the mobile. For the most part, there are a few key differences and some things that may actually stop you from using it, which can be super frustrating. There are 2 features particularly that I use all the time that do not exist on mobile, and it was driving me nuts until I figured out a way around this. Now, this is a little bit tricky. This is I'm not going to say dishonest, but it's like you require more hardware than you might think. But this is totally possible, and pretty much guaranteed you can do this on your own. So here's the deal. We want to be able to copy or duplicate photos, and that means where you have a photo and you want a new version of it. So the same picture, just another copy of it side by side, so you can apply a different look to it or crop it differently or do any number of things. Super common thing to do. You can't do it on mobile. It doesn't exist. It's like, where's the copy duplicate? It's not there. And the other one is batch pasting. So you can copy and paste the adjustments from one photo to another. You can even do the copy from previous over. So it makes it really easy to just go look at one photo and hit one button and everything from the previous photo gets copied over. That you can do on mobile. But what you can't do is copy the adjustments from one photo and then paste it to multiple at once. So this can be a real bummer for a lot of workflows. But we've got a workaround. Now, the workaround involves remote desktoping into your desktop computer. Okay, don't hate me. I realize this is kind of like, well, duh, of course I can do that. But it's actually a lot easier than it sounds, and it works really, really remarkably well. Now, the software that I'm using is something called Screens. I'll include links to that down below. I don't have any kind of discount codes for you or anything like that, but it's called Screens. You can just search for it on the Mac App Store. It is a paid app, and you'll have a version of it that runs on your Mac and a version that runs on your iOS device. And you can put, if I got this right, the server side of it is a free download. That's what you'll put on the Mac. The client side that you connect with is going to be on your iOS device, and you'll have to pay for that. You can also put the client on the Mac side to remote into other Macs, not into other iOS devices. That'd be cool. But to go from your iOS device to your Mac, you can do it. So let me just walk you through the workflow start to finish so you see how this is going to work. Now, we're going to be looking at a couple different setups here, a couple different layouts. I've got my computer layout, as you would always expect to see. I've got my iOS devices you'd always expect to see. But we're also going to be doing a little bit of an overhead view so you can see my hands, because some things that I'm going to do inside of Screens doesn't show up on the screen. I want you to see this. And because it's kind of fun, we can do this. And you'll see as I'm doing things here, they're going to be happening over in that screen up there. That's the Mac, and this is my iOS device. But for now, let's start by just launching Lightroom. And here is what I want to do. I've got these 6 photos in here. And I love these photos. I love the look I've applied to them. I think this is great, but I'm thinking maybe I want to try something different. But I want to don't want to lose the work that I've already done. So I want to duplicate these and apply a new look. And once I find a new look I like on one, I want to apply it to all of them. So super, super common workflow. I'm just going to do it with 6 images. You can do it with as many as you want. All right, so in here, I could just do the work in this same album, but I actually want to create a new album. So I'm going to go over here and just so plus and new album, and we're going to call this Teresa version 2, just to put a little name on that. And that's going to create an empty album down there. There's that empty album. So I want to put copies of these photos into that, and of course, I can't. So here's what I do. I go to my desktop. Let's go to the overhead view so that you can actually see what happens now. And I launch something called Screens. And Screens is right now seeing 3 of my computers, my Mac Mini and 5K iMac and the MacBook Pro. And this is the one I'm going to connect to. So I tap on that, and it is connecting, downloading. And let's do this. And in a moment here, if all goes well, we are going to see, it says downloading. You can't really see that right there, but it says downloading right there. If all goes well, this will connect. Now, I will say I am on, make sure I turn the Wi-Fi back on this. That would be brilliant if I hadn't done that. There it is. There it is. We are connected. I will say that this does work over an LTE connection. I have done that many, many times. Obviously, it's faster if you're on Wi-Fi, but if you are in an LTE connection, then it will still work. The one thing, well, 2 things I'll actually tell you about that. If you're going to do an LTE connection to your Mac, make sure that it works before you leave your home or studio. There are some configuration things within Screens that you really got to get right, and if you don't have it set up properly, you might be able to connect on Wi-Fi and think it's all working, but then you can't connect over LTE. So you'll want to make sure that that is working. So all you got to do is turn off Wi-Fi on your iOS device and test it, and if it's not working, then troubleshoot, and that's a Screens thing. So go to their support and figure that out. But in this case, I'm just staying on Wi-Fi just to make the demo here go a little bit faster, but I do this on LTE quite often. Okay, so just to show you kind of how this works in Screens a little bit, I'll just give you a quick little, you can pinch into the interface in here. I am in a touch mode right now, so wherever I'm touching is selecting with the mouse. But what you can also do is go into a trackpad mode, where now, as I move my finger, it is actually moving the mouse. So you can see the mouse there. It doesn't matter where I touch, it just kind of moves the mouse. And then from there, I can tap to click and do all kinds of other things. So I will often switch back and forth between those modes depending on what I'm doing. For example, to launch an app on the dock, which I always keep hidden on my Mac, it's kind of hard to do that with touch because you can't put your finger anywhere to make the dock rise up. So what I'll do is turn it into the mouse mode like I have here, navigate, open it, and launch it. So let's just do that real quick. I'm going to go to the overhead view like this. I'm in this mode. Let's pinch out of that, bring my mouse down to the bottom, and you'll see the dock is going to come up, and you see the same thing happening up there. And I'll just tap on that to launch Lightroom. And you can see there's very little latency between them, which is pretty cool. Now, in general, if you know you're going to do this, it's a good idea to leave Lightroom running on your desktop at home or in the studio, because then anything that you're doing on your iOS device will be updating right away. If you do a bunch of stuff on the iOS device and then you launch it on your Mac later, it's going to have to refresh. So just word of wisdom, if you know you're going to be doing this, leave it running. If not, then the first time you launch it, you may have to wait a minute while everything syncs up. But that's usually pretty quick. Obviously, it depends on how much you've done. Okay, back into this. So we've got, let's see here. I'm looking at a different folder than I was before. Now, I can pinch in, even though I'm looking at my desktop view, I can pinch into here. And let's see, that new album I created was, let's turn this into the touch mode here. There we go. Open up by model, open up this, and somewhere down here is, you can two-finger scroll, which can be a little tricky sometimes, but there we go, two-finger scroll. There's Teresa version 2. So there's the empty album that I just created. Okay, now let's go back into the main album there, the one that I want to duplicate all these photos from. And I want to select all of these. So you can use keyboard shortcuts just like you would. If you have an actual smart keyboard hook connected, then you can use the keyboard shortcuts, which makes this even easier. I'm going to do it entirely on the screen as if I didn't have a keyboard, just to kind of show that you can even do it that way as well. So let's go over here. I'll bring up the keyboard. I'm going to hit Command and A, and that's Command All. It's now selected all of those. Then I can right-click by two-finger tapping on the screen, and that pulls up the menu. So there's the macOS menu showing that. And I'm going to choose Make Copies of 6 photos there. And after just a moment, the 6 photos are going to get duplicated, and there we go. Now, at this point, I could just leave it, but because I created a whole new album, I want to put them into there, so I'm going to do that. Now, this is one of those areas where you got to have a little bit of trust and patience in what's happening. You can't move as quickly as you would if you were on the desktop. So I can't just click and drag over. I'm going to click, tap, and just wait a second, even though I can't see, okay, now I can see the computer, but normally you can't see the computer, just to kind of know that it's actually active. Just have a little bit of patience when you're doing this sort of thing, especially if you're on LTE, and it will work. Just keep in mind, you are remote accessing a machine here. Okay, so now I've got these selected. Now these, the ones that I duplicated are still selected. You can see the white boxes around these. They're still selected, so I can just take any one of those, tap and drag this guide. You saw the little pulse to blue, and now as I drag, I can see confirmation that I've got them, and I'm going to drag this into that Teresa version 2, and we see now the count is going up to 6. Oop, there it is, and so those are added in there. Now these are also still over here, so if I don't want these here, I can delete those. Let's bring up the keyboard and just hit delete, and it's going to say they won't be deleted, they're just being removed from the albums. That's great, that's what I want. Hit remove, and we're good. So now I have 2 albums that have the same content, Teresa Lopez and then the Teresa version 2. And these right now have the exact same images. Now at this point, I could, if I, like pain, I could do all of my editing remotely, but there's no need to do that because in the background, this is already syncing back over to Lightroom Mobile here, so I may as well go and do the adjustments on the iPad natively like I normally would. So in that case, I'm just going to, I could disconnect. I'm not going to bother disconnecting. I'm just going to pull up, go back to Lightroom in here. Now let's zoom in tight on there. So this is my mobile system, and you see there's Teresa version 2. Now it hasn't quite caught up yet there. So while we're waiting for that to catch up, we're going to have a little chit chat. I'm looking over here on my desktop, which I know you normally couldn't do, but I see that the syncing is done. Oh, look, it's done in here. It was just taking a moment. So there's those 6 images. So there's the original ones and there's the new ones. Okay, so now I'm gonna do an edit. So let's say I go into here and I'm just gonna apply a preset just to do something different. Let's do like a black and white punch. We'll choose this. And because being able to do selective copying of adjustments is important, I'm gonna do one other adjustment to this photo that I don't want applied to the other photos, just to kind of show the depth at which you can take this if you need to. So back into here, I've applied that look to it. Of course, this is applied only to that one photo. So I'll go into this one photo. I'm also going to do a little geometry work in here. Let's do a little, let's do like a little upright vertical straightening on there. See if that makes that look any better. Can I straighten that out? Sure. Let's just pretend that works. It doesn't really matter. Now at this point, I want to take the adjustments from that one photo, the adjustments from this photo here, and copy it to all of these. But again, of course, I can't do that right on the mobile. So let's just go ahead and swipe up and go back over to Screens. and we'll see if the connection is still established. It looks like it is. If it wasn't, it'll just take a moment. It'll say reconnecting, and you'll be reconnected. But in this case, I'm still here. And now I'm going to, let's go to the Teresa version 2. It's right there. It looks like the black and white has already copied over. We can see it up on that screen up there as well. And now I'm going to select that image, go to, let's see, I have to go into the editing mode here, I believe. Tap on the 3 dots on here, there it is. Copy edit settings or choose edit settings to copy, which is what I want. So I choose edit settings. That brings up this dialog allowing me to choose exactly what I want to copy. From here I could say do all modified, so that's everything that was modified. However, I don't want geometry, so I'm going to disable that and then just hit copy. That is now copied. Now let's go back to the grid view. I will select this photo. So now it gets like a little bit tricky. I got to select multiples at once. So I could do this a variety of ways. I could just do Command A to select all again, or I can actually do, normal selection methods that you would do on the Mac. Let's see if I can get this right. Oh, sure, here's what I'll do. I'll tap on that one and then bring up a modifier. Where's Shift? I'll hit the Shift modifier key and tap on there. There we go. So Shift, tap on there. See, sometimes you got to get a little bit creative of how you're selecting things, but you can Shift click to select a range, Command click to deselect a single one. It all works. It's all in there. So that's done. Now I can go to, let's see here. Now I can go to the edit mode. Wait, what am I doing? Where's my paste command? Now I've gone and forgot where paste is. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to photo. Is it probably under edit? I do this all by keyboard shortcut. I tend to forget where things are. It's probably under photo. Photo, paste edit settings. There it is. Paste edit settings. That's going to, there we go. They're all there. And just very quickly, I'm going to go back over to Lightroom here so that we can see how quickly it shows up, syncs over to this system here, which I'll take them all. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll tell you, let you know when that's done. But that's it. That's it. I realize it's a little disingenuous because you're not actually doing it on here. By the way, that's now already sunk over. But it's totally possible. I do this all the time because these two functions, the inability to copy a file, the inability to paste to multiple files, is just doing my head in, and it doesn't seem like it's something that's coming anytime soon. At least Adobe hasn't said that it is. So I decided this is how I do it. I'm just going to share this with you so you can do that as well. And that's all there is to it. Let me ask you, do you have any other crazy tips like this, crazy ways of using the tool that is out of the ordinary, that allows you to do something that you couldn't normally do? If so, let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear about it because I'm always trying to expand what I can do within Lightroom. I think it's a pretty cool tip and technique to do here. So for those of you watching live, let's jump into the live Q&A right now. For those of you not watching live, that live Q&A that was no longer live but was at some point, will be right here. See you in a moment. Well, greetings, everybody. Welcome back. I hope that was interesting for you. I hope that was like a kind of one of those aha, oh my gosh, this is how I can do it moments. Who was it? There was a comment from where did it go? Greg, who said earlier on, you could be on the other side of the world and doing this. And I actually have done that. Being in another country and wanting to do things on here that I couldn't do on there. And I'm remote desktoping into, well, not my laptop, but my main system, my main iMac. And it's great. It totally works. It's really, really cool. Alexander in Brazil. Excellent. Hello, Alexander in Brazil. So, well, it's Q&A time, guys. Nobody's got the cues up right now. Let me see what's going over here in the live stream. Yeah, we got people viewing in from a few places in here. If you have any questions, drop them into the live chat there. Now's your chance. If you don't, then we're just going to cut this thing off and I'll go home early. But I'm sure there's always questions if I give you guys long enough to come up with them. Alexander says, awesome tips. Why, thank you, Alexander. I do appreciate that. I do my best. It's fun to come back live. I've been doing a few shows not live, just recording them and editing them and delivering them and doing a little live after. It's fun to be back to doing a proper full-on live. Just the reason for that, there's multiple fold, but one of them is because I'm trying out different techniques for another project. So it's a lot of why I've been doing a lot of edited stuff. John Roberts, I was hoping this was for mobile only. As a few months ago, I went to only using the iPad Pro. Oh, really, John Roberts? You don't have a desktop machine at all that you're using? That is surprising and impressive. Keep in mind that this could even be running on an old, slow computer if you've still got a Mac laying around, or PC. Well, actually, no. Screens, you can't screens into a PC, I don't think. There are other remote desktop services that will allow you to go, like GoTo Screens, the GoToWebinar series, GoTo Screens, I think. I'm pretty sure that one will go cross-platform. Anyway, if you have an old machine laying around, you could probably still do it. Yeah, it's not a pure mobile solution. It'll come, right? It'll happen. But for now, I'm not going to sit around and wait when I can do this to get done what I need to get done. John Roberts no longer has a desktop computer. Man, you are bold, my friend. Greg says, I've used several VNC tools. Screens look much better than the freebie ones. Screens is awesome. So let me tell you this about remote login apps. I have tried so many services. Obviously, the Mac's own, Apple's own Share, what it was called, Share, whatever it was called, that kind of worked, but I'd swear at least half the time, even from home, that's just like 2 miles away, it wouldn't work. On the same ISP, even it wouldn't work. It's super, super frustrating. And I think that's why they killed it. They just realized they couldn't figure this out. I don't know. I've used the GoToWebinar one. I've used the Google one. I've used at least 1 or 2 other brands. And they've always been so tedious. Screens has been, without a doubt, the most reliable one. It's still not flawless. There still have been times where it won't connect. I still have had issues, but it is definitely the best I've ever used, the most reliable I've ever used. And its implementation of going from a touchscreen to a mouse-based device is definitely the best. It's great. I love it. I use it all the time. And like I said, rarely has it ever failed me. Sean Mark Nimber, greetings, sir. Sean says, what was the inexpensive version of the HDMI to USB cable again? Not cable. Well, the cable, no, to USB, no, it's not a cable. You need to have a box. And I think the Elgato one is pretty inexpensive. I think that's probably around $100. There's a few of them out there. If you just search HDMI to USB, but make sure that it's an actual video converter and not just like a dongle. Like this would be a dongle. This could have, I'm saying this and you can't see what I'm pointing at. This is covered in black tape. This is the Apple Lightning to HDMI. There is one of these that is USB-C to HDMI, but you know, I wonder. Oh no, you want to do it a camera, so you're doing camera in, so yeah, you need a box. This is for sending the feed out. So if you want to do what you're talking about, have a camera coming in, check Elgato. The one that I have is that an Epiphan? No, what is that box that I'm using now? I remember, I've tried a bunch of them. There's a bunch of different brands. Epiphan makes them. Matrox makes them. There's a bunch. Just HDMI to USB. Search that, you'll find it. Jake, when you add screens, does the app work by IP, or is it more like TeamViewer, Log Me In, and you just see the machines you've installed? Correct. You see the machines you've installed. So it's easiest to set up, it might even be required, I don't remember now, to set it up on the same network initially. And once you have everything set up on both sides, then it should connect seamlessly, even if you're not on Wi-Fi, even over wireless, over LTE. Now, I don't know, you might have missed the beginning of the show, Jake, but I was saying that I have been in situations where it connects over Wi-Fi, but not over LTE. So it's a configuration from the server side of things. So you got to make sure that you get it all right. So if you are going to set this up, then what I always say is get it set up on your Wi-Fi network. But then before you leave your Wi-Fi network, just turn Wi-Fi off on your device and make sure on your iOS device and make sure that you can still connect in. Just to kind of put a spin, not a spin, what's it? To drive a point home about how awesome this is. I have remoted in using screens on my iPhone to connect to my iMac that's running a big, huge, dual 4K displays. That's kind of cool. And you just like pinch way in, you do stuff what you got to do. It works. It totally works. It totally works. Wow. Okay. So, anyway, sorry, my wife's sending me like 800 messages. She clearly doesn't know that I'm live. I should probably tell her, since we're not doing the main show anymore, I will just tell her alive and live. Goodness. Honey, don't you get the push notifications when I'm going live? Alive and live. There we go. So, what else is going on? Greg says, Apple's back to my Mac. There you go. It was pretty crappy. That's what it was called, and it was, wasn't it? Alexander, where can I get some macros for my Affinity Photos app? I don't know. I don't have any macros for Affinity Photo. I don't use any automation stuff, actually. Probably from their website. They probably have some on there. Sorry, I don't know. Jake Uptill saying AV.io. Thank you. That is the one. AV.io is the HDMI to USB converter, Sean, that I actually have on the back of my desk that you were looking at the other day. Greg, love to know how to remove all the Apple Photos images that Lightroom Sync added to my library before I learned how to exclude them. Love to know how to remove. Yeah, Yeah, there's no tag. That'd actually, ooh, that's a good feature. I should ask Adobe if they'd put that in. I have the ear of a couple of people. If every photo that got imported got a keyword imported from Mac or imported from Apple Photos, something like that, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I'm going to check that. I don't think it does, because I do have it set to automatically bring stuff in. Here's a neat little tip. I have my Lightroom set up on my Lightroom account, installed on my wife's phone, so that it will automatically, and she has to launch Lightroom every once in a while to do it, but it will automatically copy everything from her Apple phone, from her camera phone, into our shared common library. And she also then has access to all the pictures. It's kind of a shared, like, you can't do this with Apple Photos, right? You can't share an Apple photo library among multiple users, but you can with Lightroom. And you can get all your iPhone pictures by simply setting it up on each device to import from there. And then I have a folder. See here, I'll just show you. I'm not going to show you the pictures, but here you can see, like, there's my wife's iPhone and there's mine, and she clearly hadn't launched it in a while because I know she has more pictures than that in there. But that'll work. It totally works. It's really kind of cool. Anyway, what was I going to do? Oh yeah, I was going to see if there's any kind of automatic caption applied. That would just be so cool, wouldn't it? I mean, keyword applied. It really should do that. I'm just going to take a quick look. Yeah, there isn't one. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna ask my friends at Adobe. I think that'd be a very good feature to add in. Okay, and Greg says yes. See, that would be great if every photo just got this imported from Apple Photos, something like that. Oh, that'd be brilliant. It'd be easy to find them and eliminate the ones you don't want. Because it does, it copies over like screenshots and stupid stuff like that. Like, I don't need that in my Lightroom library. But the pictures of my little kid, I do want to see in there. I do. The faces in Lightroom, people in Lightroom, works really well. Okay, any other questions? No other questions? No other questions in here? I guess we're going to wrap this thing up. It's just going to be one of those kind of days. Nice, short, and sweet. I hope you enjoy that. I hope that you benefit from that. I hope that you actually go and use this feature. It's awesome. It is very, very cool. So with that, we're out of here. Take care of yourselves, everybody. I'll see you next time. Oh, don't forget, Adorama thing. Where'd it go? There we go. Adorama Inspired. Check that out. Also, Sean Nipper and I have started a podcast. It is still not on Apple iTunes podcast thing because there was a problem with the naming format. I think that was it. It's just like the App Store. They say it's rejected and they don't tell you why, but here's a 15-page document where you can find the reason that might match. So you cannot name an episode with an episode number in it. So you can't say, like, this is episode 1. And our very first episode, which is just a test, I called episode 0. And I think that's why it got rejected. So I had to change the name of that, resubmit it, and it takes like a week plus. So hopefully it'll be there soon. But for now, Anchor.fm, that's where we're doing it. Anchor.fm/PhotoJoseph. You'll find the podcast, and you'll see it is on a bunch of other platforms, including Spotify and I think Google Podcasts and some others. It's just not on Apple quite yet, but hopefully soon. Jake, yes, I will be live at the Adorama event. Not live like here live. I'm not going to broadcast live, but I will be in person live at the Adorama event. Not broadcasting. Okay, I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.